My family banned me and my special needs daughter from Christmas dinner, so I walked away and made sure they finally felt the loneliness they gave us. I'm Bianca, 32. The family group chat notification hit my phone at exactly 3:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. Mom's message was casual, almost cheerful. This Christmas, we're receiving your sister's fiancé and his family. We won't have room for you and Emma at the table. My daughter Emma was 7, autistic, and apparently not important enough for a Christmas seat. Then came Lauren's follow-up. But we want you to make dinner like always. Dad chimed in with his usual charm. And don't make us feel bad about it. I still want my expensive gift. I stared at my phone screen in the hospital parking lot where I worked as a pediatric nurse. Other families were walking by, holding hands, laughing together. I sat there reading those messages over and over, like maybe the words would rearrange themselves into something that made sense. The thing is, this wasn't shocking. This was Tuesday for the Parker family. I'd been the designated cook, gift buyer, and emotional labor provider for years. When Lauren graduated law school, who planned the party? Me. When Dad needed surgery last year, who took time off work to drive him to appointments? Me. When Mom wanted to impress her book club, who catered their meetings for free? You guessed it. But somehow, I was never quite family enough to actually sit at the table when it mattered. I glanced at Emma's booster seat in my rearview mirror, still decorated with her favorite unicorn stickers. She'd been so excited about Christmas this year, asking if we could make sugar cookies for Santa again. How was I supposed to explain that Grandma didn't want us there? My phone buzzed again. Lauren. Oh, and can you get Dad that new golf club set he's been wanting? Thanks. Right, of course. Let me just drop another $1,000 on someone who couldn't be bothered to save me a chair. I sat there for another minute watching other people live their normal lives before I did something I'd never done before. I turned off my phone without responding to a single message. That's when I realized something that would change everything. The emergency department was unusually quiet that evening, which gave me too much time to think. My phone stayed off in my locker while I helped Dr. Martinez with a young boy who'd fallen off his bike. Kids are honest in a way adults forget how to be. This little guy looked at his scraped knee and said exactly what he felt. This hurts. Simple, direct, no family politics involved. During my break, I finally turned my phone back on. 17 missed calls, 43 text messages. The family group chat looked like a tornado had hit it. Mom, Bianca, answer your phone. Dad, this is ridiculous behavior, young lady. Lauren, are you seriously ignoring us right now? Then I saw something that made my blood boil. A message from my Aunt Carol, who apparently had been added to the group chat. I heard about Christmas dinner. Can't wait to meet Lauren's fiancé. What time should we arrive? They'd invited extended family. There was plenty of room at that table. They just didn't want Emma and me there. I scrolled through years of similar patterns. The family vacation to the lake house that Emma and I weren't invited to because it might be too stimulating for her. The Easter brunch where they forgot to mention the time change. The Thanksgiving where I cooked for 14 people, but somehow there were only 13 seats. Each time I'd made excuses for them. Emma had a meltdown once at a restaurant. And since then, my family treated her like she was contagious. They'd whisper about her episodes and suggest maybe she needed professional help, code for keep her away from us. But here's what really got me. Emma was brilliant. She could recite every dinosaur species, solve math problems that impressed her teachers, and had the biggest heart of any kid I knew. She just experienced the world differently. My family saw that difference as embarrassment. I looked up to find my colleague Sarah watching me with concern. Everything okay? My family doesn't want my daughter at Christmas dinner. Sarah's face showed exactly the reaction normal people have to that information. Horror. What? Why? Because she's autistic and they're ashamed. The words hung in the air. I'd never said it that directly before. What happens when you finally speak the truth you've been avoiding? The next morning, Emma bounced into the kitchen wearing her favorite Christmas pajamas. She'd been counting down the days since Halloween, making lists of cookies we'd bake and decorations we'd hang. Her excitement was infectious, pure joy, without any adult complications attached. "Mama, can we make the reindeer brownies this weekend?" I watched her organize her breakfast items in a perfect line. Toast, orange juice, vitamins, the way she needed things to feel right in her world. How could anyone look at this beautiful child and see a problem to be managed? "Of course, baby. We'll make whatever you want." That's when it hit me. I'd been so focused on trying to earn my family's acceptance that I'd forgotten the most important thing. Emma deserved better than people who saw her as less than perfect. I opened my laptop and started researching Christmas in New York City. The Plaza Hotel had a special holiday package. Ice skating in Central Park. The Christmas tree at Rockefeller Center. Broadway shows with matinee performances perfect for a 7-year-old. Emma peered over my shoulder. "What's that?" "I'm looking at a special Christmas trip. Just you and me." Her eyes went wide. "Like an adventure." Exactly like an adventure. My phone started ringing. Lauren's name appeared on the screen. I let it go to voicemail, then listened to her message. "Bianca, call me back. We need to discuss the Christmas menu. Also, Mom wants you to pick up the wine and Dad's golf clubs need to be wrapped properly." I deleted the message without finishing it. Have you ever experienced that moment when you realize you'd been accepting crumbs while calling it a feast? Drop a comment if you know what I mean. The Plaza Hotel website showed elegant suites with views of Central Park. The Christmas package included breakfast, ice skating passes, and a horse-drawn carriage ride. It cost exactly what I'd been planning to spend on family gifts. Gifts for people who couldn't even save us chairs at dinner. Emma climbed into my lap, studying the pictures on my screen. "It looks magical, Mama." It really does. For the first time in years, I felt something I'd almost forgotten. Excitement. Not the anxious energy of trying to please everyone else, but genuine anticipation for something beautiful. That afternoon, I made a reservation for December 23rd through December 26th. Suite 1205. With a view of the park and room service available 24 hours a day. Then I did something that felt revolutionary. I started planning Christmas for the 2 people who actually mattered, but I wasn't quite ready to tell my family yet. The family calls intensified over the next few days. Each voicemail grew more demanding than the last. Dad left a particularly charming message. "Bianca Marie Parker, you call me back immediately. This childish behavior needs to stop. We have a dinner to plan." Right. We, as if I was part of the planning instead of just the unpaid caterer. I finally answered when Mom called during my lunch break. Mostly because my coworkers were starting to notice my phone's constant buzzing. "Bianca, finally. Do you have any idea how worried we've been?" "Worried about what?" "About you. You haven't responded to anything. Lauren needs to finalize the menu. And your father is concerned about his gift." I took a bite of my sandwich, chewing slowly. Amazing how different the conversation felt when you weren't desperately trying to fix everything. "I've been thinking about Christmas." "Good. So, you'll handle the cooking?" Lauren was getting nervous about doing it herself. Of course, she was. Lauren could argue a case in federal court, but was terrified of a turkey thermometer. "Mom, where exactly are Emma and I supposed to eat this magical dinner?" Silence. Then, well, you understand the situation. David's family is quite traditional, and with Emma's challenges. It might be better for everyone if you handled the kitchen duties while we managed the formal dinner. Handled the kitchen duties like hired help. So, we cook, but we don't eat. Don't be dramatic, Bianca. You know we love you both. It's just complicated this year. Actually, it's quite simple. You're embarrassed of my daughter. That's not. It's not about embarrassment. It's about what works best for everyone. Everyone except Emma and me. Another pause. You're being unreasonable. Family requires compromise. Funny how the compromise only ever went one direction. I hung up without saying goodbye. something that would have horrified me just a week earlier. Now, it felt like the only sane response to insanity. That evening, Emma and I decorated our own Christmas tree. Just the two of us, Christmas music playing, hot chocolate cooling on the coffee table. She carefully placed each ornament exactly where it needed to go, narrating the process like a nature documentary. The silver star goes here because it needs space to shine. The angel ornament goes next to the star because they're friends. Watching her, I realized something profound. This was what Christmas was supposed to feel like. Peaceful, joyful, not anxious and exhausting. My phone buzzed with another group message. Lauren, Mom told me about your conversation. Can we please just get past this? I need to know about appetizers. For once in my life, I had a different answer ready. December 20th arrived with the first real snowfall of the season. Emma pressed her nose against our kitchen window, watching the flakes drift down like tiny dancers. She'd been practicing her ice skating stance all week, sliding around our hardwood floors in her socks. Only 3 more days until our adventure. 3 more days until I did something I'd never done before. Put my daughter and myself first. My phone rang. Lauren's name appeared on the screen. Against my better judgment, I answered. Thank God. Bianca, we need to talk. This whole situation has gotten out of hand. What situation? You know what situation? Mom is beside herself. Dad keeps asking about his gift and I still don't have a menu. I pulled out the notes I'd been making. Actually, I have some news about Christmas. Finally. Okay. I was thinking we start with those little cheese puffs you make. Then maybe the cranberry brie bites. Lauren, I won't be cooking Christmas dinner. Silence. Complete absolute silence. What do you mean? I mean exactly what I said. I won't be cooking Christmas dinner. But you always cook Christmas dinner and you always have a place at the table. More silence. I could practically hear her brain struggling to process a world where I wasn't available to solve her problems. Bianca, you can't just abandon the family. Like you abandoned us when you didn't save us seats. That's different. We explained about David's family, right? They're too important for us to eat with, but not too important for me to work for free. Lauren's voice shifted to the tone she used in court when things weren't going her way. Look, I understand you're upset, but this is bigger than your feelings. Mom has been planning this for months. Months. She's had months to plan this and never once mentioned that her granddaughter wouldn't be welcome. It's not about welcome. It's about shame. You're all ashamed of Emma. We are not ashamed. We just want everything to go smoothly. Emma existing isn't a disruption to be managed, Lauren. She's a 7-year-old girl who loves Christmas cookies and wants to see her family. For the first time in our conversation, Lauren was quiet for more than a few seconds. When she spoke again, her voice was smaller. So, what are you saying? You're not coming at all? Emma and I will be celebrating Christmas together. Just the two of us. Where? I smiled, thinking of our packed suitcases hidden in my bedroom closet. Somewhere we're actually wanted. The silence stretched so long, I thought she'd hung up. Bianca, please. Can't we work something out? You had the chance to work something out. You chose differently. After I hung up, Emma appeared in the doorway wearing her travel backpack. Mama, can we practice ordering room service again? Absolutely. What would you like for breakfast tomorrow? She consulted the menu I'd printed from the Plaza website. Pancakes with berries and whipped cream and orange juice and bacon on the side, please. Perfect choice. We spent the evening playing pretend hotel guests, practicing our best manners, and discussing all the things we'd see in New York. Emma had made a list of everything she wanted to do, written in her careful handwriting with different colored pens. As she got ready for bed, she looked up at me with those wise eyes that saw so much more than most adults gave her credit for. Mama, are Grandma and Grandpa going to be sad we're not there? I thought about it carefully because Emma deserved honest answers. They might be surprised, but sometimes when people don't treat us kindly, the the best thing we can do is find our own happiness. She nodded solemnly. Like when kids at school are mean, and I play with different kids instead. Exactly like that. That night, I lay awake thinking about the chain reaction I was about to set in motion. Tomorrow evening, my family would discover that their designated cook had vanished. They'd realize that all their assumptions about my availability were just that, assumptions. But mostly I thought about Emma's excitement and the magic we were about to create together. Finally, I was choosing us. December 23rd dawned crisp and bright. The kind of winter morning that makes everything look like a Christmas card. Emma was awake before her alarm, sitting in bed with her suitcase open, checking her packing list one final time. Mama, did you remember your fancy dress for dinner? I did. Did you remember your ice skating mittens? Check. And my camera for pictures and my Christmas book and my special blanket for the train. We were taking the train to New York, something Emma had been thrilled about since I told her. She loved the rhythm of train travel, the way it felt like being rocked to sleep while watching the world slide by outside. My phone had been mercifully quiet all morning, though I expected that to change soon. By now, someone would have called someone else, wondering about Christmas dinner logistics. The panic would set in gradually, then all at once. I was loading our suitcases into my car when my neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, appeared at her mailbox. Going somewhere special? New York City. Emma's first time. Mrs. Patterson smiled at Emma, who was wearing her new red coat and practicing her fancy hotel voice. How wonderful. Nothing like Christmas in the city. We're going to see the big tree and go ice skating, Emma announced. And eat pancakes in our room. That sounds absolutely magical. As we drove to the train station, Emma chattered about everything she wanted to see. The excitement in her voice was infectious. When was the last time I'd felt this purely happy about anything? We found our seats on the train, and Emma immediately pressed her face to the window as we pulled away from the station. I watched the familiar landscape disappear, feeling lighter with each mile that passed. That's when my phone started ringing. Mom's number appeared on the screen. I glanced at Emma, who was completely absorbed in her travel journal, drawing pictures of what she expected our hotel room to look like. I answered, Bianca, thank goodness. Where are you? I'm at the grocery store and I can't find the list you usually make. I'm not making a list this year. What do you mean? You always make the shopping list. How am I supposed to know what ingredients you need? I'm not cooking this year. Remember, Lauren will handle it. But Lauren doesn't know how to cook for 12 people. 12 people, not 13. Even in her panic, she couldn't acknowledge that Emma and I had been excluded. Then maybe you should have thought of that before you decided we weren't family enough to eat with. Bianca, where are you? You sound different. I looked out the train window at the countryside rushing past, then at Emma coloring contentedly beside me. I'm exactly where I belong. What does that mean? Stop being cryptic. It means Emma and I are celebrating Christmas somewhere we're actually wanted. The silence on the other end was deafening. You can't be serious. Completely serious. Have a wonderful dinner with David's family. I hope it's everything you dreamed of. Bianca Marie Parker, you come home this instant. I hung up and turned off my phone. Emma looked up from her drawing. Was that Grandma? It was. Is she sad we're not cooking for everyone? I considered how to answer that honestly. I think she's realizing that taking people for granted has consequences. Emma nodded thoughtfully, then returned to her journal. She was drawing a picture of the two of us holding hands in front of a Christmas tree, both of us smiling. The train rolled on toward New York City, toward our first Christmas that would be entirely our own. Behind us, I imagined the chaos beginning to unfold. Lauren frantically calling restaurants that might cater last minute. Mom standing in the grocery store with no idea what to buy. Dad wondering where his expensive gift was. But ahead of us lay something I'd never given myself permission to imagine. A holiday built around joy instead of obligation. Celebration instead of performance. Emma fell asleep against my shoulder as we crossed into New York State. Her travel journal opened to a page where she'd written "Best Christmas Ever" in rainbow letters. I thought she might be right. The Plaza Hotel lobby was everything I'd imagined and more. Marble floors gleamed under crystal chandeliers, and Emma's eyes went wide as she took in the holiday decorations that looked like they belonged in a fairy tale. A massive Christmas tree dominated the center, decorated with gold and silver ornaments that caught the light like captured stars. "Mama, it's like a castle." The concierge who greeted us treated Emma like visiting royalty, offering her a special Plaza teddy bear and explaining all the holiday activities available. No one looked at her with judgment or whispered about her excited stimmying. Here, her joy was simply appreciated. Our suite was on the 12th floor with windows overlooking Central Park. Emma ran from room to room, exploring every detail. The sitting area had a couch bigger than our entire living room back home, and the bathroom had a tub deep enough for proper bubble baths. "Can we really order whatever we want from this menu?" "Anything you want, sweetheart." She studied the room service options with the seriousness of a Supreme Court justice reviewing a case. "I think chocolate chip cookies and milk for our arrival snack." 20 minutes later, we were sitting by the window sharing warm cookies and watching horse-drawn carriages circle the park below. Emma had changed into her favorite unicorn pajamas and was narrating everything she saw like her own personal travel show. That's when my phone, which I'd reluctantly turned back on, exploded with notifications. 17 missed calls, 42 text messages, 3 voicemails that I was pretty sure contained some language Emma shouldn't hear. The family group chat looked like a war zone. "Dad, this is the most selfish thing you've ever done." "Lauren, do you have any idea what you put us through?" "Mom, come home immediately." But then I saw something that made me pause. A message from my cousin Jake who lived in California. "Good for you, Bianca. About time someone stood up to them." Another from my Aunt Martha. "Honey, I heard about Christmas. I'm proud of you for choosing yourself and Emma." Apparently, word had spread beyond the immediate family, and not everyone was horrified by my rebellion. Emma looked up from her cookie. "Are they very mad?" "They're surprised. They're not used to people saying no to them." "Will they be okay without us?" I thought about Lauren standing in a kitchen with no idea how to defrost a turkey. Mom frantically calling restaurants that were already booked. Dad realizing his golf clubs weren't magically appearing under the tree. "They'll figure it out." Sometimes people need to learn how to solve their own problems. What do you think will happen next? Comment below with your predictions. The afternoon flew by in a whirlwind of magic. We walked through Central Park where Emma fed ducks and collected interesting leaves. We visited the American Museum of Natural History where she spent 45 minutes studying the dinosaur exhibits and teaching me facts I'd never learned. As evening approached, we returned to the hotel to dress for dinner. Emma had packed her favorite dress, navy blue with silver stars, and I'd brought something I'd bought months ago, but never had occasion to wear. Looking in the bathroom mirror, I barely recognized myself. When was the last time I'd gotten dressed up for something that was purely about my own happiness? "Mama, you look beautiful." "So do you, my love." That evening, as we sat in the Plaza's elegant dining room sharing dessert and watching Emma's face light up with wonder, my phone rang one more time. This time, it was Lauren. And this time, her voice was different. "Bianca, please don't hang up." Lauren's voice was smaller than I'd ever heard it. Gone was the commanding attorney tone, replaced by something that sounded almost vulnerable. "I'm listening." "Where are you really?" I looked around the elegant dining room at Emma carefully eating her chocolate souffle with the concentration of a surgeon, at the other families enjoying their holiday dinners without drama or exclusion. "We're at the Plaza in New York." "The Plaza?" "As in the actual Plaza Hotel?" "The very one." Emma's having chocolate souffle for the first time. Silence. Then, "Bianca, I need to tell you something. We tried to cook dinner ourselves today." I almost smiled. "How did that go?" "It was a complete disaster. The turkey was raw in the middle and burned on the outside. Mom had a meltdown in the kitchen. Dad ordered pizza for 12 people and David's parents looked like they wanted to disappear into the floor." "I'm sorry to hear that." "Are you though, really?" The question hung between us. Was I sorry? Part of me felt bad for the chaos, the way I'd always felt responsible for everyone else's emotions, but a larger part felt something else entirely. Relief that it wasn't my chaos to fix. I'm sorry that it happened. I'm not sorry that I wasn't there to fix it. David's mother asked why our regular caterer wasn't available. What did you tell her? The truth. That we don't have a caterer. That our sister has been doing everything for years and we took it for granted. Emma finished her dessert and leaned against my arm, content and sleepy. Around us, other diners were enjoying their evening without any family drama at all. Lauren, can I ask you something? Of course. When you were planning this dinner, when you decided there wasn't room for Emma and me, did it occur to you that we might have feelings about that? Another long pause. We thought you'd understand. The situation was complicated. It wasn't complicated. You were embarrassed of Emma. That's not. It is exactly that. You've all been embarrassed of her since she was diagnosed. You treat her like she's broken instead of just different. She has meltdowns sometimes. So, do you remember your breakdown during the bar exam? I drove 4 hours to bring you soup and sit with you while you cried. Did anyone suggest you were too difficult to have around? Lauren was quiet for so long I thought she'd hung up. You're right, she said finally. God, Bianca, you're absolutely right. We've been horrible. It was the first time in our 32 years that Lauren had admitted being wrong about something involving me. The thing is, I continued, Emma is brilliant and funny and kind. She sees the world in ways that make it more beautiful. You're all missing out on knowing this amazing little person because you're too worried about what other people might think. I know. I see that now. Do you though? Or are you just saying that because dinner was a disaster? Both, maybe. But mostly the first thing. I looked down at Emma, who had fallen asleep against my shoulder, her face peaceful and content. Lauren, I need you to understand something. This isn't just about Christmas dinner. This is about years of feeling like we're only valuable when we're useful. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just done. What does that mean? It means things are going to be different from now on. Christmas Eve morning dawned bright and clear. Perfect for ice skating. Emma had been practicing her balance all week, and she was determined to glide around the rink like a winter princess. We bundled up in our warmest clothes and headed to Woolman Rink in Central Park. The rink was magical, surrounded by snow-covered trees and filled with families laughing together. Emma held my hand tightly as we stepped onto the ice, her face serious with concentration. Remember, it's okay to fall. That's how we learn. She nodded solemnly, then pushed off with one foot. For a moment, she wobbled dangerously, arms windmilling. Then something clicked, and she was gliding forward with a huge grin on her face. Mama, I'm flying. We spent 2 hours on the ice. Emma fell exactly 3 times and got up laughing each time. She made friends with another little girl whose family was visiting from Texas, and they skated in circles together, chattering about their favorite Christmas movies. Watching her, I felt something shift in my chest. This was what childhood was supposed to look like. Joyful, unguarded, free from the anxiety of trying to be perfect for people who would never be satisfied. My phone buzzed with another message, but for the first time in days, I didn't immediately check it. Whatever crisis was happening at home could wait. This moment belonged to Emma and me. After skating, we wandered through the holiday market, buying hot chocolate and looking at handmade ornaments. Emma chose a small glass angel with iridescent wings for our tree at home, so we remember our adventure. Perfect choice. Later, as we walked back to the hotel, Emma slipped her mittened hand into mine. Mama, this is the best Christmas ever. Even though it's just us. Especially because it's just us. We don't have to worry about anyone being upset or making noise or sitting still for too long. We can just be happy, out of the mouths of babes. Back at the hotel, I finally checked my phone. The message that had come through during skating was from Mom, and it was different from all the others. Bianca, your father and I have been talking. We owe you an apology. We've taken you for granted for years, and we've been unfair to Emma. She's our granddaughter, and we love her. We just didn't know how to handle her needs. We'd like to talk when you're ready. I read it twice, then showed it to Emma, who was building a fort out of couch cushions. What do you think about this message from Grandma? Emma considered it carefully. Do you think she means it? I don't know. What do you think? Maybe she's learning, too. Like how I learned to ice skate today. Sometimes 7-year-olds have all the wisdom in the world. That evening, we ordered room service and watched Christmas movies in our pajamas. Emma fell asleep during Elf, curled up against my side like a contented cat. I sat there in our beautiful suite, looking out at the twinkling lights of the city, feeling more at peace than I had in years. My phone rang quietly. Lauren's name appeared on the screen. This time, when I answered, the conversation was going to be different. Bianca, I'm glad you answered. Lauren's voice was steady but tired, like she'd been awake thinking for hours. What's going on? Mom told you she texted, right? About wanting to apologize. She did. Emma and I were talking about it. How is Emma? Really? Is she having a good time? It was the first time Lauren had asked about Emma's experience rather than the inconvenience Emma might cause. She's amazing. She learned to ice skate today, made friends with another little girl, and told me this is the best Christmas ever because we're free to just enjoy each other. Lauren was quiet for a moment. Bianca, I need to tell you something. After you left, after dinner was such a disaster, David's parents asked a lot of questions about our family dynamics. I can imagine. His mother specifically asked about Emma. She wanted to know why we hadn't mentioned David had a niece. What did you tell her? The truth. That we'd been idiots. That we have this incredible niece who we've been pushing away because we didn't know how to handle her being different. I felt a spark of something I hadn't expected. Hope. David's father works with special needs kids in his law practice. He told us some things about autism that we didn't know. How intelligent autistic children often are. How their different way of processing things can be a gift. Emma is incredibly intelligent. I'm starting to understand that. And I'm starting to understand how badly we've failed both of you. This was the longest conversation Lauren and I had ever had where she listened more than she talked. Lauren, can I ask you something honestly? Of course. Are you saying this because you genuinely want to do better or because the situation has been embarrassing for you? She was quiet for a long time. Both, if I'm being completely honest, but mostly the first thing. Sitting at that dinner table yesterday with David's family asking normal questions about our family, I realized how messed up our dynamics have been. How so? His mother asked who usually hosts Christmas and I said you do. She asked if you enjoy cooking. And I realized I've never asked you that question. I just assumed you'd always be available to handle everything. I do enjoy cooking, but I don't enjoy being taken for granted. I know, and I'm starting to understand the difference. Emma stirred against my shoulder, mumbling something about snowflakes in her sleep. Lauren, things can't go back to the way they were. I know. I don't want them to. I want them to be better. What does that look like to you? I don't know yet, but I'd like to figure it out if you're willing to let us try. I looked out at the lights of New York City, at the magical Christmas we'd created for ourselves, at Emma sleeping peacefully in a world where she was celebrated instead of managed. I'm willing to listen. But Lauren, if this is just talk, if things go back to the same patterns once the embarrassment wears off, Emma and I won't be available for that. I understand. And Bianca, for what it's worth, I think Emma is lucky to have you as her mom. You've protected her from our dysfunction, and you've given her confidence to be herself. It was the first compliment Lauren had ever given me about my parenting. Thank you. That means a lot. After we hung up, I sat holding my sleeping daughter, thinking about second chances and whether people really can change. Outside our window, New York City sparkled with promise. Christmas morning at the plaza was pure magic. Emma woke up to find that Santa had left presents outside our door, items I'd secretly ordered and had delivered to the hotel. Her squeal of delight when she saw the art supply set and the book about female scientists probably woke half the floor. Mama, Santa found us in New York. He finds good girls everywhere. We spent the morning in our pajamas. Emma drawing pictures of our adventure while I read and enjoyed the best coffee I'd had in months. Room service brought us an elaborate breakfast spread. And Emma practiced her formal dining manners with exaggerated politeness that made us both giggle. Pass the strawberries, please, madam. Certainly, mademoiselle. Would you care for more orange juice? Don't mind if I do. Around noon, my phone rang. The caller ID showed my parents' landline, which meant this was probably a coordinated family call. Should I answer it? Emma looked up from her drawing. Do you want to? I think maybe I do. Then you should. I answered the phone to find not just Mom, but the entire family on speakerphone. Bianca. Mom's voice was bright but nervous. Merry Christmas, sweetheart. Merry Christmas. We're all here. Mom, Dad, Lauren, even Jake drove down from Sacramento. We wanted to call together. Dad's voice came through next. Gruff but gentler than usual. Bianca, we owe you an apology. All of us. This was unprecedented. Dad apologizing for anything was like spotting a unicorn in the wild. Emma, too, Lauren added. We owe Emma an apology. What kind of apology? I asked carefully. The kind where we admit we've been wrong, Mom said. About how we've treated both of you. About making you feel like you were only valuable when you were doing things for us. Jake's voice joined in. For what it's worth, I've been telling them they were idiots for years. I'm proud of you for finally standing up to them. Jake, Mom scolded. But there was no real heat in it. What? It's true. Bianca's been the family workhorse since she was 18. And you all just expected it to continue forever. We know that now, Dad said. And we want to do better. How? I asked. By starting over, Lauren said. By getting to know Emma properly. By including both of you as family members, not as staff. By never again assuming you'll handle everything while we sit back and enjoy the results, Mom added. Emma had stopped drawing and was listening intently to the conversation. Emma, Dad's voice came through the phone. Are you there, sweetheart? She looked at me questioningly. I nodded. Hi, Grandpa. Hi, baby girl. Grandpa owes you a big apology. I haven't been a very good grandpa to you, and I'm sorry. It's okay, Grandpa. Mama says sometimes people need time to learn things. Your mama is very smart. Are you having a good Christmas? The best. I learned to ice skate and I made a friend and we're staying in a castle. A castle? Well, it's a hotel, but it's like a castle. There are big windows and fancy food and the nicest people. Lauren's voice was soft. Emma, would you like to tell us about ice skating? For the next 10 minutes, Emma regaled the family with detailed descriptions of our New York adventure. I listened as my relatives heard my daughter's personality for the first time. Her intelligence, her humor, her pure joy in new experiences. When she finished, there was silence on the line. She's remarkable, Dad said finally. She really is, Mom agreed. I want to know her better, Lauren said. Both of you, if you'll let us try. I looked at Emma, who was nodding enthusiastically. We're willing to try, but things have to be different. They will be, Mom promised. We've learned our lesson. I hope so, because Emma and I won't go back to being taken for granted. Understood, Dad said. When you come home, we'd like to start over. All of us. After we hung up, Emma climbed into my lap. Do you think they really mean it? I think they're going to try. And if they don't follow through, we'll handle it like we handled this Christmas. Exactly like that. She smiled and returned to her drawing, adding new figures to her picture. Our whole family all holding hands together. Maybe second chances were possible after all. Our train pulled into the station just as the sun was setting on December 26th. Emma pressed her nose to the window, watching familiar landmarks slide past. Mama, I'm excited to see our house, but I'm also sad our adventure is over. Who says it's over? This was just the first adventure. There will be many more. Really? Really? We've learned something important this week. We can create our own happiness. We don't have to wait for other people to give it to us. The taxi ride home was quiet, both of us lost in our own thoughts. Emma clutched her new Plaza teddy bear and the glass angel ornament we'd bought at the Christmas market. I thought about how different I felt from the woman who'd left just 4 days ago. 4 days. It seemed impossible that so much could change in such a short time. Our house looked exactly the same, but everything felt different. The decorations Emma and I had put up ourselves seemed warmer somehow, more authentic than the elaborate displays I used to create to impress my family. We were unpacking when the doorbell rang. Through the window, I could see Lauren standing on my porch holding a large gift bag and looking nervous. Aunt Lauren. Emma ran to the door, her excitement genuine. Hi, Emma. I brought you something from Christmas morning. We saved all your presents. You got me presents? Of course we did. You're part of the family. They were small things, a puzzle, some books, a gift card for art supplies, but they represented something bigger. For the first time, my family had thought of Emma as a person to shop for. Not a problem to manage. Emma, why don't you take these to your room and look through them? I suggested. Aunt Lauren and I need to talk. Once Emma was upstairs, Lauren and I sat in my living room, the same space where I'd made the decision to choose ourselves just days earlier. You look different, Lauren said. I feel different. Good different or bad different? Stronger different. Clearer different. Lauren nodded. I've been thinking about what you said about Emma being brilliant and funny and kind. You're right. I don't really know her at all. She'd like to know you, too. But Lauren, she can't be a project for you to fix or manage. She needs to be accepted as she is. I understand. I want to learn how to do that. It starts with spending time with her real time, not just holiday obligations. Getting to know what she likes, how she thinks, what makes her laugh. Would you be willing to help me with that? If you're serious about it, I am. We all are. This Christmas was a wake-up call. Over the next hour, Lauren told me about the family's conversations over the past few days. How they'd realized how much they depended on me, how little they actually knew about Emma, how empty their traditions felt without the two people who brought genuine joy to them. Dad cried, Lauren said. Actually cried. When Emma told him about ice skating, he said he wished he'd been there to see it. He could have been. You all could have been. I know. That's what makes this so much worse. We chose to exclude you, and in doing so, we excluded ourselves from watching Emma discover the world. Emma appeared in the doorway, having changed into her favorite pajamas. Mama, can Aunt Lauren stay for dinner? I want to show her my drawings from New York. Lauren looked at me questioningly. Would you like to stay? Fair warning, we're having grilled cheese and tomato soup. Nothing fancy. That sounds perfect. As we cooked together, Lauren listened while Emma explained each drawing in detail. The Christmas tree at Rockefeller Center, the ice skating rink, the fancy dining room at the plaza. Each story was told with Emma's characteristic enthusiasm and attention to detail. You're an amazing artist, Lauren told her. And an amazing storyteller. Thank you. Mama says everyone has special talents. Mine is seeing details that other people miss. That's a wonderful talent to have. Later, after Lauren had gone home with promises to take Emma to a museum the following weekend, Emma and I sat together on the couch. Do you think they really want to know me now? I think they're going to try. And if they don't try hard enough, we know we can create our own happiness like we did in New York. Exactly like that. As I tucked Emma into bed that night, she looked up at me with those wise eyes. Mama, thank you for teaching me that I'm enough just the way I am. You are more than enough, sweetheart. You are everything. If this story resonated with you, make sure to like and subscribe for more stories about finding your worth and creating your own happiness. Remember, you don't have to accept crumbs and call it a feast. You deserve a seat at the table, and if no one offers you one, you can always build your own. The next morning, I woke up to a text from Mom. Would you and Emma like to come for dinner Sunday? I'd like to try cooking for you for a change. I showed the message to Emma over breakfast. Should we go? What do you think? I think we should try, but if it doesn't feel good, we can always leave and make our own dinner. Exactly right. 6 months later, Emma and I were planning our summer vacation to San Francisco. We'd started a tradition of taking special trips together, just the two of us. My family had kept their promises about doing better with varying degrees of success. But that was their journey to take. Emma and I had learned the most important lesson of all. Our worth wasn't determined by other people's ability to see it. We were enough just as we were, and we'd never forget that again. After all, once you've had Christmas at the plaza, everything else is just gravy.